Coming up on today's show, I want to talk about a topic that a lot of you guys have been asking me in the comment section. Should the Broncos trade for Jake Browning? So let's unpack this idea and talk about whether or not it's realistic, what it could look like, and whether or not it would be a good thing for the Broncos to do. But like I said, you guys have been clamoring for a Jake Browning video, right? We've gotten numerous comments about the Broncos should go get Jake Browning. I mean, we've got Mr. Salgado saying this. I've got a longtime viewer in John Havlicek saying option B is trading for Jake Browning. Mr. Marcus saying why not contact Cincinnati about Jake Browning. So the people have asked, and we're going to deliver, and we'll answer this on today's show. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, though, really quickly, I do want to just plug that if you want to get on screen, you want to support the show in the process, if you feel comfortable, you can send a super thanks in. A super thanks is an option to leave a little bit of like a YouTube tip jar, if you will, where it's got the heart with the $ in the middle, and greatly appreciated, no pressure to do so. But if you like the free content we provide here and you want to get on screen like Richard Brandy, Russell and Flo, Elliot D., Blake Molman, and Nate Williams, super thanks and super chats are greatly appreciated. Now let's talk about Jake Browning because he put together a really nice third of the 2023 season for the Bengals, throwing for nearly 2,000 yards, completing 70% of his passes, which I think might have been the best in the NFL, actually. 12 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Now, the name might sound familiar. He helped Washington get to the college football playoff, right? Many moons ago. He was a UDFA in 2019, originally signed with the who? Minnesota Vikings. Who was in charge? George Payton. So you can already connect the dots a little bit on that front. Now, last year with the Bengals, he went 4-3 as a starter, had them in the playoff race down to the last week or so. He also is going to turn 28 years old on April, or in 2 days, depending on when you're watching this, in a week or so, April 3rd right now. But I think Jake Browning could be an option. I mean, I'm 100% interested in a trade. I guess I should lead off with that right now. I'm not going to say no to Jake Browning because I don't think that there's a better option, right? I mean, there's not many good quarterbacks left in free agency. I like Jake Browning more than I like Zach Wilson. So, yeah, I am interested in every quarterback available because they simply have to acquire a quarterback. Going into the season with just Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci is malpractice. So, of course, there is a thing called the NFL draft you can turn to. But if the Broncos wait till pick 12 to make a quarterback selection and the top guys are gone, and then they wait till the third round to make a quarterback selection, and the next top few guys are gone, all of a sudden we're rolling into the season with a day 3 pick, a round 5 guy, and Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci. That's not playable. Like, that's going to lead to probably the worst team in the NFL next year if I had to make a prediction. So I'm 100% interested in a trade because I'm just interested in seeing ways to improve this quarterback room. Now, the issue is I don't think the Bengals are interested. Looking at their quarterback room right now, it's Joe Burrow and Jake Browning. They don't have a guy behind Browning. So do they want to move on from their backup quarterback? Probably not. And if you've also noticed, Joe Burrow is quietly / not so quietly developing an injury pattern. I mean, unfortunately, had the big knee injury in his rookie season. Then he went into last season after getting appendectomy in the training camp portion and started the year off a bit slow. Then he hurt his calf, was it, going into the 2023 season, really started the year off slow. And then he hurt his wrist against the Ravens in like week 9 or whatever week that was. So we've got a major knee injury, a calf injury, and a wrist injury all in the first 4 or 5 years of his NFL career. If I'm the Bengals, you probably can't rely on Joe Burrow playing every single game for the rest of his career. I don't think he has that Iron Man quality in him. And that sucks. Injuries are a bummer. They're out of your control a lot of times. But just through the first couple of years of his career, he doesn't seem to have the bestest luck of avoiding injuries. So the Bengals would be wise to hold on to a very reliable backup because if they need to turn to Jake Browning for 3 or 4 games to keep the ship afloat, I mean, they learned last year that's a great thing to do because he can do that for them. Now, hopefully the Bengals aren't watching this video because I don't want them to make that realization. But chances are they already know that in Cincinnati. Now, what could a trade look like? I think Jake Browning may have a decent ish market. What about a fifth and a sixth in next year's draft? I also think you got to add in the element of the Bengals don't want to trade Jake Browning, and they know the Broncos need a quarterback. So they are probably going to need to get an offer they can't refuse. I don't think Jake Browning is worth a fifth and a sixth. I don't. But I think when the Bengals know the other team's desperate and this team doesn't want to give up that player, they're going to set up a high bar for it. And the Broncos may or may not reach that bar. Now, what do you guys think about trading for Jake Browning? Would you do that deal? Yes or no? I want to know what your thoughts are on acquiring the Bengals' backup quarterback. If I'm Sean Payton, the question really is Browning an upgrade? If you think he's a massive upgrade than what you currently have, then absolutely you should pursue a trade. And who knows if the Bengals will kick the tires on a deal or not. But I'm not confident that Sean Payton believes Jake Browning is an upgrade than what he has in Jarrett Stidham. I mean, they don't have extensive career stats so far, both young quarterbacks in their playing careers in terms of actually getting on the field. Browning has 7 career starts, all coming last year with the Bengals. And then Jarrett Stidham has 2 starts with the Raiders, 2 starts with the Broncos. And Jake Browning, I would say, has looked like a better quarterback than Stidham. Is he so much of a better quarterback that Sean Payton is going to be inclined to make a trade? That I'm not really convinced of, because I think Sean Payton looks at Jarrett Stidham in very high regard. But if it was up to me and I was calling the shots, get Jarrett Stidham, Baron Browning, draft a rookie quarterback, and have those 3 guys battle all training camp and preseason long for the week 1 starting gig. I think that is your at least best outcome in a bad situation right now for the Broncos to get the best possible quarterback play. Have a 3-man competition and let the cream rise to the top. Who knows? Maybe you get lucky with the rookie. Maybe Jake Browning just needed a few years to really develop. Or maybe Jarrett Stidham is going to blow all of our minds away. But I'd rather bet on 3 horses than just one. And I think acquiring Browning and going to get a rookie is probably going to lead to at least a better quarterback camp battle than just rolling with Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, because I don't really view DiNucci as an option, and a rookie, right? You kind of go from 2 horses to 3 horses. So for that reason, why not call the Bengals, right? Give Browning's agent a call and see if he'd be interested in going from being a backup in Cincinnati, where I think he enjoys having that role, to having a real opportunity to start in Denver. I'd be inclined to believe that Jake Browning would want that move. And I also kind of wonder if the Bengals, while they may not want to give up Browning, if they want to do Jake Browning right. And they're like, hey, if a team's going to call and make us a fair trade offer, a 5th and a 6th, and you have an opportunity to go start for another team, we're not going to hold you hostage here. So that could be something that factors into this as well. All right, that will do it for us on this edition of the Broncos Breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We're going to sign off, and we'll see everyone later.